Hi everyone, welcome back to another tutorial, and for today's project we're going to make this fluke bracelet that I was designing yesterday. Actually I was not aiming for this, but this is how it turned out and I'm quite happy with it. It turned out really cool. When I was first making the bracelet I was kind of freaking out because it wasn't turning out at all. And I had put a lot of work into that, and I just kept on going, and this is what we got, pillow tops. As you can see, it's pillowed on top, and it's really actually quite secure like this. And it's going to take a little bit of tight pulling in here in order, once we start in these diamonds going into the decreasing area instead of increasing, you're going to have to start pulling it really tight, and I'll show you how to do that in order to get it to pillow top like that. It just looks really cool on the wrist. Once again, I made my bracelet way too big, like I always do, but I wasn't sure if it was going to get shorter, get longer, so all I do is do my bracelet up in this hole here where I made the loop to join the clasp. So I have this dangling down as a charm, so it looks kind of nice actually. So I'm going to keep making my bracelet this big. This next one I'm going to make, and I'm going to make it exactly with this many diamonds in it, just because I want to use the charm. This is where I do my bracelet up in this area here. So if you're going to do the same thing, see how it has the charm hanging down? If you're going to do the same thing, make sure you use a small clasp, closure, toggle, or whatever it is you're using, because this stays closed and it fits in this hole perfectly. Okay, so again, another fluke job, and it turned out so cute. So I called this pillow top diamond weave, or diamond pillow top weave, whatever. And all you need for this project is 2 kinds of seed beads, and I'm going to give you the make of each seed bead, and you should use exactly what I'm using, because I'm telling you right now, I don't know how well it's going to work out with other beads, because I had gotten a fair amount of it done and I wasn't about to change beads. So I am using an 8/0 check seed bead, and I'm going to use this in opaque white. And I'm using, what I used in here was an 11/0 Toho seed bead. And now a Toho seed bead is different than a check seed bead. If you buy check seed beads and Toho, compare them, you'll see there's a difference. So again, I don't know how it would work out with check seed beads in there, or Miyoki, or whatever other brand there is. I just used Toho. And this one here I'm using a gunmetal, or we call it hematite, same thing. So I'm going to use these 2 colors. That's it. That's all you need. You're going to need at least a half a tube of this. This is, I believe, a 5-gram tube, so I'm going to probably use 2.5 grams of seed beads. And this I will use a fair amount as well, maybe half a tube. And this is a 6-inch tube, and I don't know how many 8/0s or what gram this is, because I buy my check beads on hanks and I put them in tubes, so I just find it easier to find my colors. I'm using 2 wire protectors. I'm using again another small closure, not a small toggle like this one, and a size 10 beading needle. So that's it for your findings that you're going to need, and your beads. You will need a pair of scissors, size 10 beading needle, like I said, and I'm using this Suffix Fireline. I explained this in a video I did the other day, that this Fireline, or not Fireline, but fishing line, is incredibly amazing. Now, I don't know if ever once in a while you're putting your needle through and you're using Nymo, or you're using even Fireline. Sometimes you can split your Fireline, but you can just, if it's just a little hair of a piece of Fireline, you can usually break that off instead of trying to put your needle back through it or pull your needle off. This one here, you can't do that with this. If you split this, you've got to get your needle back through it, because this will not break. You'd have to cut it, and you don't want to do that. This is really awesome thread. So I think I put it on the last video I did. I forget the name of that video. Anyway, it's on there, and it's called Suffix, and it says 10-pound equivalent to 4-pound monofilament, 15 bucks for 150 yards at Walmart. That is where I purchased this. We probably can get this at Canadian Tire. I just never seen it yet, but my husband bought me 2 spools of it this big, so And I use a lot of Fireline, so it's got quite a bit of thread on here. Anyways, I'm gonna go off, dump my beads, come back, and if you wanna bead this with me, go and get yours. Okay, to get started, I thought I strung on a comfortable length, but I strung on a major too long piece of a length, so don't mind me if I'm cussing and swearing because I have a ton of knots, so I deserve it. Anyways, this is the row that is the most complicated, pain in the ass row. That's what I call it. I hate this row, and you're probably going to hate it too, but once you get past that first row, you'll be good. So this is a ladder stitch row, and of course you got to do it with all these tiny wee beads. They are awful to do it with, but we have no choice. So all you're going to do is pick up your first two 11/0s on your needle, bring them down, and leave yourself at least a 12-inch tail, because you are going to sew your toggle on with your tail, okay, your 1/2 of your toggle. So leave it long enough that you can go through. Now I'm going to wrap these around my finger, and there's my tail here, and that's my working thread. From the tail forward, I'm going to put my needle through the very first bead I strung on, and this one is not going to get the needle through it. So I'm just making a circle and pulling my 100 yards of thread through it, and pull that tight. So this is where you're going to form your ladder stitch here, like this. Wow, I don't know if you can see that. I can't see it in my video, but in my little screen right there. Okay, so now you want to, this is where we're exiting, but you want to exit in the next bead. So just go across and go into this next bead so you can attach another bead to that. Yes, you're going to hate this row with a passion, but it has to be done. This is your base row. Okay, so now we've got both our threads exiting at the bottom, and that's what you should have too. Now you're going to pick up another 11/0, and my thread's exiting here, so all we're going to do is make a circle and go through our bead that way on the end bead. And we're going to attach another bead to this. And I'm trying to be careful because I cut way too long, as you can see, thread. Okay, so now I'm kind of away from this bead, and that's where I need to add another bead. So bring your needle back up into the bead you just put on, and pull your thread through very carefully. If you take a big hunk like I just did. Morons are us, Ruby. Alright, so now you've got 3 beads in that ladder row. Wow, eh? Whew, you only have 500 more to go. Kidding. Close though. Pick up another 11/0 and form a circle and go back through the 11/0 that way. Pulling your thread careful if you've got a long piece, like I do. And actually, my thread's doubled over and the other tail piece is longer. Okay, so now we have 4. These are going to kind of be a little funky shape, but if you're using thick thread like this, don't go through them too many times, okay? Because you're not going to be able to go through them again if you do that. So just try to keep them pulled tight in your very first pull on this row. I'm trying to keep them nice and straight in a ladder shape like that. And I'm trying to keep my tail placed. Alright, so now you're going to pick up one more, and you're going to go back through the first bead or the last bead you just put on, and you're going to create a circle, and you're going to attach this bead now, like so, and bring your needle back up through that bead like that. Oops, got a knot. Stupid thing. It doesn't pay to pull slow, because I still got a knot. Alright, let's get this pulled tight. There we go. Alright, so now we have 5 11/0s attached in a ladder row like that. Now you're going to start with your 8/0s. You're going to pick up one 8/0. You're going to continue doing the same thing. Run your needle in a circle. Your thread's exiting here, so go put your needle in it and exit it the same way your thread is, and sit your 8/0 a side there. You're gonna have to, like I said, this is a pain in the ass row. You're gonna have to maneuver your beads and hold them in your fingers like this till you just get this first row done. Believe me, I hate this row. Okay, so that's what you've got. Let me put it down so you can see my beautiful little piece of ladder stitch. It's so small. Okay, so now you're going to pick up 5 11-ohs, not 5 at once, just one, and you're going to put 5 11-ohs here, and then you're going to pick up an 8-oh, and you're going to continue this for however long you want your bracelet to be. This ended up being really long, so be careful, because I wasn't sure when I completed if it would shorten on me because of the pillow top here, but it didn't. So the length of it still remained the same where I entered all this. So in this I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 12 diamonds in here. And I'm going to do 12 diamonds of the white in this one too. So this is a beige colored and a brown. I'm not sure if you can see that very good. Actually, this is called African Sunset, this color in here. And this is just a pearl beige color check bead. You can barely see it in the camera. It almost looks white, but it's really not. It's cream colored. It's the color of my mat, really. Okay, well, this is the difference between the bead colors, because there's white and there's the cream color, so you can kind of see the difference. Really pretty. It's like a pearl finish luster on it. Anyway, I got 12 on here, so I'm going to do this, continue doing this ladder stitch till I have 12 white beads in between 5 11-ohs. And make sure you end with 5 11-ohs. You start with 5, you end with 5, okay? So keep your work nice and even. Make sure you leave enough room for your clasp, like I tell you in every bracelet. So I don't need to tell you that 50 times. Leave 1 inch, 2 inch, whatever it is you want to leave for your closure. This one here, it's going to stretch it out just a wee bit because we've got this in here, this oval roundish part here, and it's probably a good inch and a half with the closure on here, from here to here, from tip to tip. So it's a good 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe. So yeah. Alright, so I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to finish this and put my one at a time. Remember, you can only do 1 bead at a time now for your ladder stitch. There's no shortcuts, so sorry about that. Oh well, you can spend the whole day doing this project because it is a long project. It takes a long time because you're going to put on your beads individually. And as you can see, it's a fair amount of beads in here. So, alright, I'll be back when I get my row done. And you just put in how many. If you want to make this smaller, just remove that many diamonds. This is going to be, this is like a size 9, so don't put that many in if you have a small wrist. Take 3 of them off, maybe do it this big. Okay? Measure in there. Alright, I'll be back. I'll shut up. Okay, so your base row, when you get it done, should look like this. It's kind of not really straight and neat, but it's good enough for the bracelet. You can see it didn't matter in this. So what you need to do now is you're exiting out of your last group of 5 here that you put on. You're exiting out of your last bead. I know this is going to be super hard for you to see, but now we're going to do brick stitching. And to do brick stitching, you always catch the thread on top of the bead. So this is called a thread bridge. So it would be this thread, this thread, this thread, and this thread. Now, in brick stitch, there's a decrease and there's an increase row. So right now, you're going to be working on decreasing. You're going to be decreasing your amount of 11-ohs here, but you're going to increase your 8-ohs here in order to get your diamond shape like this. Okay? So, to get started on this next row, as you can see, there is, let me get up closer, there's 2 thread bridges, or 1 thread bridge here in this bead. So you're going to always pick up your first 2 beads on every new row you do. So pick up 2, skip this thread bridge and go into the next thread bridge and just stick your needle underneath the thread bridge. Whoops. Skip this one. Let me see if I can do this so you can see what I'm doing. Skip this thread bridge and go into the second thread bridge and put your needle underneath like that. And then pull your thread through. So now you're going to sit these 2 beads on top like this. Okay, because you want them to sit this way. Now you're going to take your needle, and to secure these beads in place, you're going to go back up into this first bead above your thread bridge. So it would be the second bead you put on. You're going to go this way from your works to your end. Put your needle that way. So go from the bottom of the bead up. And now pull that tight and secure it. Okay, and as you can see, this first bead's not secured in place here. So you're just going to go back down into this bead, pull your thread through very carefully, and now just thread or bring your thread across and go back up into this second bead, and then pull your work nice and tight, and then your bead on the end there. I love knots because I just got one. Okay, pull this up. Whoopsies. We want this to be in front. So let me just fix my work here. There we go. And now you're going to pull this tight. And now you've got like a diagonal here. Okay, see, they're not even. So now you want to decrease your 5 beads to 4. So each row there's going to be 4, 3, 2, 1. But as you're decreasing those, you're increasing your 8/0s. So now you just pick up 1 11/0. You're exiting out of the top of your bead. You're going to go into the next thread bridge. Just catch the thread between the 2 beads like that. And place this bead on top. Okay, now you're going to work. Make sure when you put your needle back up into this bead, you don't hook it back into that thread bridge, because sometimes you can do that and then it'll just pull your bead off your work. Okay, and secure that one into place. Now as you go, keep your work pulled super, super tight. So now we have 3 beads. 1, 2, 3. We're going to pick up 1 more. Now you can see we went into this thread bridge. Now we need to go into the next thread bridge like that and pull your thread through. These first couple of rows are a pain in my butt because these beads are so tiny. Okay, so now you can see there's 1 thread on this side of the white bead and 1 thread on this side of the white bead. So we want to put a white bead here and a white bead here. So we're saying an 8/0 here and an 8/0 there. So pick up an 8/0, go under your thread bridge, and pull your thread through carefully. So you don't want to loosen that bottom row. And I got my thread in behind the wrong way, so alright, so now you want to go back into this bead. You see it sitting kind of like this. You want to go from this side up, okay, and then you're going to stand that bead up, pull your threads nice and tight. So you want to stand this bead up. Oops, we have a problem, Houston. I didn't go back up into that black bead. So I'm going back out. I must remove this bead. Oh yes, I never make mistakes unless I'm on camera, just so you all know that. So I put this last bead on, but I did not go back out of it. I'm still hanging on by the thread bridge there. That's why it was kind of awkward. Now we're going to put this bead in place like that. Now let's pick up our 8/0. And you're going to pull your work nice and tight at all times. You're going to keep your work very taut. Okay? Putting the 8/0 on now, we're going to go back up into it. Let's not forget what I just did. And pull that nice and tight. So your beads are sitting kind of, they'll be on each side of your one bead there. You should have two now. And they'll be centered. So now you pick up an 8/0 again. Go into the next, trying to show you this, next thread bridge to place your next 8/0 in. Okay, and now go back up in from the bottom to the top of the bead, placing this second 8/0 and pulling my work nice and tight. There we go. So we've got two of those done. Now, as you can see, you only have room to put 1, 2, 3 across the black ones here. The 11/0s, you've only got 4 bridges, and then you'll be into adding your 2 here. So let's add 4 11/0s. So under the thread bridge, pull that nice and tight. Well, easy. And then go back from the bottom up into the bead and place your bead nicely, tightly beside that white, or that 8/0. There we go. Pick up another 11/0, go under the next thread bridge, like so. And then from the bottom up, you're going to secure that bead now. So if you give each one of your beads, as you put them on, a nice tight pull, they lock into place. You see they're staggered like stairs? That's what you're looking for. And if they're not staggered like stairs, then I don't know what you did wrong. Might have to rewatch the video. Go into the next bridge. Pull that one from the bottom up. And now securing that one to the bottom. Okay? And now we need to do one more because we only have 3 on there. This row's kind of flimsy, your first row, but it'll be alright once you get this second row on. It's going to get easier as you get a little higher up. Under the thread bridge, and then back up from the bottom of the bead, back up to the top, pulling this bead in place, like that. Okay, now we need to add 2 more 8/0s, because we're at our point now where we need 2. Pick up an 8/0, go under the thread bridge, and lock this bead in place. Okay. I kind of pinch the bottom row to the top and pull it tight like this, so that it kind of stays nice and straight. It'll get a little better once you pick up another 8/0. It'll get a little better once this second row is done. Under the thread bridge, pulling, and back up from the bottom through to the top, and pull it nice and tight. So you may have to maneuver your 8/0s a little bit just to get them all straight, and then give it a tight pull. And that's all you need to do for this row. I'm going to come back after I complete doing this, so make sure you put your 4 beads on and then your 2 8/0s here. I'm going to come back in each row and show you what to do for each row, just so it's that a beginner person can follow along. So all you're going to do now is repeat exactly what you started here. You're going to repeat this for the whole entire row. Your bracelet's going to start to curl. It's going to actually go completely in a circle. But that's okay, because it will eventually, when we get it done, it will go nice and flat like this and straight. So do not panic if your bracelet starts going in a circular pattern like this, okay? Like a completely, like you'll think it's a necklace, but it's really not. So I'll come back after I get this row done. Okay, now we're back for the next row, and as you can see, it's completely curling around like a circle. You see, we have no, you can't put it straight because it goes funky like that, but it'll straighten out, I promise you. If you follow what I'm doing, it'll be fine. Now we're going to begin the next row, and again we're going to decrease our 11/0s. So in this case, now we're going to pick up 2 11/0s on our needle. You're going to skip the first bridge and go into the second bridge. So skip the first one, go into the second, like so. Now you always got to secure the very first bead you put on. So to do that, we're going to repeat what we did last time. Go back up into the last bead you put on, same way you would be as you're putting them on, and then go back down into this bead, your first bead, very carefully, and then go back up in the same way on this bead, and that one, pull it tight, and that will place that bead nice and tight in line evenly. So as you can see, we're working on a diagonal. So we have 2 beads on already. So pick up a 3rd bead, because we've done 5, now 4, now we're going to do 3, go into the next bridge. And this is where it's going to get a little bit easier, because now you can hold at least something in your hand. You can hold some, you've got the more security when you're able to hold your beadwork like this in your fingers, and then go back up in that bead that you just put on. Okay, pull tight. Now we need to put 3 8/0s on, because we have room for 1, 2, 3. So pick up an 8/0, go into the next bridge, and go back up into your 8/0 and secure that nice and tight. Pick up another 8/0, go into the middle between the 2 in the previous round, and back up into your 8/0. And pull nice and tight. Okay, now you need to add another one. And now you have 3. Evenly distributed across the 2. Pull that tight. And now you have your 3. And you have your little beginning of your triangle. And now you're going to put 3 11/0s. This is the row you're going to have 3, 3, 3 of each. So 3 11/0s, 3 8/0s, 3 11/0s, 3 8/0s. When you're doing this brick stitch, absolutely do not skip any bridges, because if you do that, it's going to really throw your pattern off, and it's going to tend to curl more and more and more until we get to about 5 rows, till we get to about this far. it's going to start pulling it back straight again as we decrease these again. You'll see. It works out quite well. So again, I'll come back and we'll begin the next row, and I'll show you what to do on the next row. Okay? Enjoy. I'll be back.